If a woman loves you only when she's around you, know this. When she's alone with you or you're spending face-to-face time together, you have no doubt in your heart that she's in love with you. Or worst case scenario, at least she likes you a lot, right? So why is it that when she's not with you, she's slow to respond or return your calls or text messages? Should you be worried about where this girl's heart lies? My simple and straightforward answer is yes. I'll tell you why. Jessica O is here. In this video, I'm going to share 5 reasons why the girl who has your heart is behaving the way she is. Could it be that she's simply too busy? Yeah, it could be a possibility. However, when this behavior is persistent beyond reason, I'm afraid to tell you that she might actually be fibbing. No one is perpetually too busy for the one that they claim that they love. At risk of sounding like a broken record, when a woman genuinely loves you, she loves you wholeheartedly. She sacrifices a lot, including sometimes her friends and her family, just to be with you. She gives you assurances, keeps you happy. Listen, if your woman isn't doing this, you should question her dedication or her love for you. Now, if you want more details on this, you should check out my video about 7 things women do when they genuinely love you. I'll leave a link to that video in the video description below. In the meantime, if she only loves you when she's with you, and by that I mean physically in your presence, there could be a series of things happening on your blind side. Now, the first thing I want to address is the fact that she might not be into you. You're just a friend. She may have some level of attraction for you, but she doesn't want anything more, and it's really not that deep for her. I dare say she might have even placed you in the friends with benefits category if you're lucky. Now, this kind of arrangement might work for her because it requires less emotional investment. It provides her with companionship or other benefits she might be getting from you without the commitment that a deeper relationship requires. Now, women who are not emotionally invested often prioritize other areas of their life, like work, hobbies, personal interests over the relationship that she has with you. And yes, while this is healthy on some level for individuals to have interests outside a relationship, a balance is necessary when both parties are genuinely invested. If you find that you're always adjusting your schedule to suit her without her doing same, it might be a signal that the relationship isn't as important to her as it is to you. When a woman isn't into you, know this: when you're out of sight, you're definitely out of mind. She has better things to do and will place you on the back burner. She taking forever to respond to your messages or not answering your calls is because you are not her priority. A relationship in which you feel valued shouldn't be conditional on your physical presence. If her attention and affection significantly wane when you're not around, trust me, her emotional investment is superficial. This out of sight, out of mind behavior suggests that she doesn't feel a strong emotional connection and is not particularly concerned about maintaining any kind of constant level of communication or intimacy with you. Secondly, intimacy with you is great only while it lasts. Now, sometimes the warmth and closeness you feel with someone doesn't run as deep as you might hope, right? Especially if, let's say, the sparks are flying when you're together. It can be easy to get the wrong impression. Now, get this, some women just love the buzz of new romance. The compliments, the romance, the all eyes on them. You being the hopeless romantic that you are might be showering her with good stuff, making her feel special. But remember, just because she's into the affection in those moments doesn't mean she's looking to lock things down with you. And I know it's a tough pill to swallow, but sometimes what feels like intimacy is actually more transactional, right? Maybe she's getting something else out of being with you, like comfort, maybe even material benefits. If your gut tells you that the connection feels more strategic than spontaneous, it could be that she's not really in it for the romance. Ever noticed that after you two get close, she starts asking for favors or help? It might be that she's setting up a pattern where intimacy leads to you helping her out in some way. This kind of dynamic benefits only her, and you might be left feeling a bit used. It's key to keep your emotions in check if you sense that the relationship isn't as reciprocal as you like. Falling head over heels when the other person isn't as invested will only lead to heartbreak and disappointment, and you don't need me to tell you that, okay? I think the key takeaway for this point is this: while your intimate moments might seem perfect, it's important to look at the bigger picture and her behavior outside those times that you spend together to really understand what's going on. It's all about protecting your heart and making sure that you're both playing the same game. Number 3, she's courting the attention of multiple men. Now, when I talk about her courting the attention of multiple men, it's important to recognize just how common this situation is. The fact is, many women receive a lot of attention from men, more than you might realize. And this happens everywhere. I mean, on the streets, in the stores, in the churches, during events, at work. If you took a moment to ask your female friends about the kind of attention they get from men on a daily basis, you might be surprised just how much women deal with. Given that, let's consider the possibility that she's actually engaging with multiple suitors, right? She enjoys the attention and chooses to explore her options. This brings up an important question for you. Are you ready and willing to compete for attention amongst all those other potential interests out there? Is this a competition that you want to be a part of? It's critical to think about why you should even have to fight for her attention in the first place. I mean, if she's truly into you, wouldn't she make it obvious by prioritizing your relationship over others? If you're finding that you're just one of many suitors or options she entertains, when it suits her, then perhaps it's worth reconsidering your position. Why invest your time and emotional energy in someone who sees you as an option? The harsh truth might be that when she's not with you, she could very well be chatting with Mike, Mark, or Melvin. When she's around you, it might feel great, but it's worth asking yourself if it's really your exclusive moment or it's just your turn. Now, this scenario highlights why it's not wise to chase after someone who isn't giving you the level of attention and commitment you're offering. Instead, it could be more beneficial to step back and evaluate whether this dynamic works for you, or if you should redirect your energy towards someone who values and prioritizes your presence in their life more clearly. No ifs, no buts. After all, being someone's clear choice rather than an option amongst many is a fundamental part of a fulfilling relationship. I say never chase women. If you want all the reasons why that's a bad idea, it's time to watch my video on why you should never chase women. I'll leave a link to that video in my video description below. Let's move on to the next point, which is number 4. If a woman loves you only when she's around you, it could be that she's nurturing another relationship. Now, if you're noticing that her availability and affection come in unpredictable waves, intense and engaging one moment and then cold and distant the next, it could be a sign that you're not the only significant person in her life. This pattern where she turns to you primarily during trouble in her main relationship is something to watch out for, right? It suggests that her commitment to you is conditional and dependent on her relationship status, as in what's happening currently in her main relationship. When she's facing issues with her main guy, she might suddenly become available to you. You'll notice she's more attentive, more interested, spending time with you, and more emotionally open during these periods. In these moments, you'll find yourself in a role of a confidant or emotional support. Now, while it can feel good to be trusted and leaned on because you love this girl, it's important to realize that if your role is primarily to serve as a buffer, right, against her relationship troubles, that is if she tells you about it, then maybe this isn't something that you want to be in, right? So think through that. Now, being in such a position will obviously be emotionally taxing for you. You might feel valued and important when she needs you, but this is often temporary and leads to you feeling sidelined when she returns to her main relationship. Now, if you're always the go-to during hard times, but sidelined during the good, obviously it's not balanced. If she's not committed to building something genuine with you, you might always be in limbo, unsure of your place in her life, right? Now, I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news. She's definitely got someone else in her life, and you are the side guy. This girl's not for you. She's just a shared commodity. What do you do in this case? Well, it's crucial to assess whether this whole arrangement works for you, right? Relationships should enhance your life, not leave you feeling insecure, inadequate, guessing, waiting, right? Communicating your feelings and your needs is essential. If you find the relationship unsatisfying or too one-sided, consider setting boundaries or deciding that, hey, this is not for me. Remember, it's healthy to want a relationship where you're valued consistently and not just when it's convenient for her. The final tip I'll throw your way is this. She's not looking to be fully open with you if a woman only loves you when she's around you. Now, this can be a significant red flag in any relationship. When someone is truly invested in building a lasting and meaningful connection, they stay open with you, open in their thoughts, open in their feelings, open in their experiences. This transparency is a foundation for trust. But if you find that She often seems guarded, changes the subject when it gets personal, or rarely shares details about her life outside of her time with you. It's time to take notice. This lack of openness doesn't just create a barrier, it also leaves you questioning the reality of a relationship. You might be in a situationship where you're in the relationship by yourself. Are you getting to know the real her, or just a curated version of what she presents when it's convenient? This behavior could indicate that she's keeping her options open, not fully committing to the relationship, or potentially hiding aspects of her life that might change how you see her. More alarmingly, this reluctance to open up can sometimes be a tactic to just maintain distance from you. I mean, by not letting you in, she keeps the relationship superficial, which might be exactly what she wants if she's not looking to deepen the connection with you. You might notice that conversations about the future or taking things to the next level seem to make her uncomfortable or skillfully avoided. The question then becomes, why isn't she open? Is it a general tendency towards privacy, or is it specific to her feelings and intentions towards you? Understanding this can be crucial. If it's the former, there might be room for growth for both of you, if you're both willing, right? If it's the latter, however, it could be a sign that she views the relationship as something temporary or casual, not something she intends to nurture or grow over time. And either way, these are insights you need to consider seriously if you're invested in finding a relationship that's fulfilling for you. Let's wrap up this video. In conclusion, here are my thoughts. Recognizing and accepting that she might not be that into you is hard, right? But it's important. It's important to consider what you seek in a relationship. What do you want? You know, does her behavior align with those expectations? If they don't, it's time to reassess your involvement and consider how to proceed in a way that respects both your emotional well-being and your desire for a more reciprocated and fulfilling connection. And that's definitely something I need you to think about. Thank you for watching this video. I'll catch you in the next one. My name is Jessica OS. I'll see you definitely. Cheers.